Hello, everyone. Welcome back to yet another episode of the WOFB with me, Cameron Metheny, your host, principal of Cameo Studio Designs. You guys, I am so excited. This whole season, I am really talking with some ladies that bring some power in their stance of the industry. I am super excited. Today, I get to talk with Lesley Goddin. Oh my gosh, such a dynamite. But first, you guys, this podcast is proudly presented by the WOFB. It is also sponsored by Cameo Studio Designs and Latticree, which we love in the industry, right? And speaking of, if you are a DIYer enthusiast, if you're a contractor or a tile expert, you should be, if you're not, using Latticree, because they are really shining spotlights on their brands that are synonymous with quality, but also innovation. Latticree is my choice for all my commercial jobs and residential. So if you are planning your next tiling project and tackling a big renovation, ensure a successful installation each and every time with the most comprehensive assortment of innovative tile and stone installation materials available worldwide, not only just in the US, they are worldwide, guys. So this is amazing because they are truly leading products from Latticree, offer complete system solutions from the substrate up all the way to the grout in virtually any type of project. So look no further, but choose Latticree for your next job. So guys, for you that are joining me today, we're in season 2. Season 2 is all about the hammer versus honey approach with how we work with life, how we work in all things. As hammer, that metaphor kind of brings that power that we stand in. We set those boundaries. It feeds growth, but is also the honey approach, which is more of that metaphor of persuasion and problem solving. Maybe you come at a situation with more empathy or sympathy. But let's dive in a little bit more today. Are you ready for this? I mean, this woman, Lesley Goddin, is who I get to chat with today. She has been a writer and a journalist since her first diary at the age of 11. Her journey has taken her through a career in publishing and publicity, landing her the editorial position of Tile Letter and its special publications in 2006. She also serves on the board of the Tile Heritage Foundation and NTCA Women in Tile Group, and is a member of the Consumer Education Committee at NTCA. OMG, girl, you bring it. Welcome to the WOFB podcast.
Thank you, Cameron. This is so wonderful to be here. I'm really honored to be on your show and to be in the company of guests that you've had, the amazing Jana Valafoco and Jane Calwert. I've watched those and I know some of your other guests. And so I'm just really honored to be here. Thank you.
Well, I'm honored to have you here because you are someone that, like, whenever I grow up, I'm like, I want to be a Lesley Goddin, because to be able to take things that are in your mind and put them on paper and tell a story and really captivate your audience, you do such a fabulous job at that. So holy cow, this is like going to be a great episode, you guys. And do you know what else I love about you? I've got the Women in Tile, the brand behind us as our backdrop, but you match beautifully with everything today.
It's all in divine order, right?
That's right. So I recently saw, I follow you on Facebook and we socialized a little bit on Facebook, but I recently saw your cucumber. So you're like a gardening guru.
Not actually a gardening guru, but we, a few years, well, probably, man, it was probably like 10 years ago. I live in a condo complex and I thought it would be really nice to have a community garden. So we kind of petitioned the board and stuff, and we have this garden back there. We have 4 beds. And so some of the neighbors and I all have a bed. And so I've been growing like cucumbers and squash and tomatoes and peppers, and the cucumbers are nuts. I mean, the vines are everywhere, you know, and I just happened to see that one peeking out from underneath all the vines. It's gigantic.
Oh my
So yeah,
gosh.
so it's fun, but it's so
You,
great to have things growing, right? I mean, it's
right.
just really exciting. So
I love that you bring that up is, I think too, like writing for me is kind of runs a parallel too with anytime that like I gardened for years. Early in my 30s, I had gardening awards. So I understand that love that, you can take a seed, plant it in the earth, give it love, talk to it, water it, and watch it flourish and then turn
yeah,
into something nutritious that we can give our bodies. And writing and or podcasting and kind of doing all of these things, you start with nothing and then a little idea or a word or and then it just grows and you can just to watch it emulsify into this either bigger or greater thing, which is fabulous. So you
yeah,
do that.
yeah. It's you know what? It's kind of like tile too, right? I mean, it all starts with dirt, right? It starts with
Yeah.
dirt. So you put the seed in the dirt, and then plants come out, or you take the dirt and you do things with it that I don't totally always understand, and glaze it, and it's gorgeous, and then
Right.
you create beauty with it. So it's all
Gosh.
connected, kind of, right?
Absolutely. It absolutely is connected. So let's jump into a little bit about I know about you. Some of our listeners might not know about you. So let's jump a little bit into like background and inspiration as your journey into writing and what inspired you truly to become a writer, journalist, particularly for the Tile Artisan magazine.
So you mentioned that I did start writing in a diary at 11, and that is true. I don't have brothers and sisters. I had a cat. I always have a cat, so I have a cat now. And but like sometimes things are tough in the family, right? And you need some place to turn. I didn't have siblings, so I started with a diary, like one of the ones with the key, the little lock
Oh
and the
yeah.
key. And I still have it somewhere. I couldn't find it, but I did find the one that I made when I was 14.
Oh my gosh, I love this.
Oh my
The
gosh,
life
it
of
was
me.
the life of me. And I started that one when I was 14. It was like the day that I graduated from 8th grade or something. But anyway, so I started journaling, and I found that it really is a way to get inside and to put your feelings on the page and just kind of solve problems. I mean, I really almost feel like I'm kind of getting divine downloads sometimes when I journal. So anyway, I did that for a while, and when I was in college, I was an art major, and I realized that I was going to need to go to graduate school. And it's not that I was lazy and I didn't want to go to graduate school, but I really wanted to get out in the world and work, right? I wanted to work. I wanted to have my own place. I wanted to start my life. And so in my junior year, I decided to switch to communications. And then I pursued journalism and communications and worked for trade magazines and publicity. For years, I worked for BASF for publicity for their carpet fiber division. And then, got back into writing. But I do want to tell you about
Yeah.
how Artisan started, because
Yeah.
this was amazing. So Artisan, the idea for that was born in 2020. It was one of the gifts of 2020. I know that was a really, really hard year for all of us, but it was May, and it was my first day off, and I was laying in bed scrolling through Facebook, and I saw this amazing mosaic by Joshua Nordstrom of his orca
Okay.
in the pool. And I should have sent you a picture so you could have put that up, but it's so amazing because it's got the orcas and then a shadow beneath it in mosaic, so that when the water's in there, it actually looks like there are whales floating in the water and casting a shadow. So amazing. So I thought, I got to write a story about this. But then I thought, no, not a story. We need a whole magazine about this. We need a magazine about this kind of work, and we had been talking about changing our special issues, and this just kind of just ignited this inspiration, So I called Michelle Chapman, our art director, and I told her about this, and she was excited too. And so we talked about it. I did not take the rest of the day off. I actually had like a divine download. I knew in that moment everything that was going to be in that magazine. It was just the weirdest thing, and I was like running around the house. I was so excited. My sweetie, he works from home too. Well, everybody did in 2020, right? And and it's just so excited. So that's where this magazine came from. I mean, to be an inspiration for designers, to encourage, everyone who lays their hands to tile and does it in a way of excellence is a craftsperson and an artisan. But this is a kind of another dimension of that, right? And it can inspire people. It can inspire young people who maybe have some artistic talent and they don't know what to do, with that in a practical way. And so that's really the basis for the magazine. And in 2025, we're going to change things up a little bit with Tile Letter Artisan. We are going to incorporate artisan content in every issue. We're going to have yes, every issue. So all the issues will
stuff. Let's save Tile Artisan magazine in just a minute before we dive into that, because we have like 30, 40 more minutes to go. So I don't want to dive there just yet.
All right.
But, what I do want to dive into, because I find this really interesting, and I just kind of want to jump right in here. So my Women of Flooring business, like I never did really a whole lot of flooring. My jam has always been tile. And how did I miss this group of women in tile? I don't even know. So now I don't even know if I'm a part of it, but I need to be. I want to be, because that is my jam. And the things that I think is super important that you bring too, that I really want to talk to you about, is the role of women in tile. And you've been in this industry for a long time. How do you see that role of women evolving within the tile industry? And what do you think are some challenges that they still face? Because that's really important.
Well, I think, I've seen women in the tile industry since I started, right? So there have always been women in the tile industry. But what I would say is that the opportunities and the inroads are now really expanding. I was looking through some old tile letters, and we started a Women in Tile section or magazine in 2010. So we started focusing on women in tile. We started focusing on contractors, and then, expanded that a little bit to focus on people in marketing and management and leadership. And I'm seeing more opportunities, and I'm seeing more support. I mean, as you mentioned, right, we've got the Women in Tile group now, and that's been kind of percolating for a couple of years. Women of the flooring business, women in the floor covering industry, women in stone, these groups are growing, and they're getting, NAWIC, National Association of Women in Construction. There's so many, this is The House That She Built by Molly Elkeman. She wrote that book.
That one too. That's right.
Amazing book. Really great to encourage young women and young girls. And I think that's what's happening, is that we're reaching to touch and to talk to young girls earlier, so that they can actually incorporate this thought as they're looking at, what do I want to do with my life? So it's starting earlier, and it's, not everything is like pink and frilly and stuff like that. Nothing wrong with pink and frilly, but there's other things that women can be doing, and it's really exciting.
I know it is. So for the women that you've seen, at least through the kind of the revolution of, tile, even since I've been in it less than 10 years. But the leadership roles that women are taking, like I really run a parallel, life with being a part of Women in Lighting, being a part of a mentor in that industry. And I'm seeing the parallels of one of the women that I just interviewed is the CEO of Hammerton Forge. She's been in the lighting industry for 35 years. And when she started, she was told by her boss, who was, oh my gosh, I can't even think of his name right now. I want to say George Foreman, but I know that's not it. Murray Feist, and was told, there's not a position for a woman as a CEO, and that was 30 years ago. And now she's running one of the largest lighting manufacturers in the country. And so, we talked a lot about that, but even in this industry, since I've been in it, I'm seeing those parallels too of leadership roles with industry over the years. Have you seen a significant difference? I know you talked about, that change and that you've seen, but where are you seeing the significant difference? Is it more on the corporate end or more on the installation side?
Well, in preparation for the women's session that I do at Coverings, I look at some stats and stuff, and there's a lot of women obviously in the design industry. There's a lot of leadership there, but I'm also seeing it in other areas. I'm seeing more women getting into installation and being entrepreneurs in their own contracting businesses. And that's really exciting. I'm sure we're going to talk about the CTI test. I'm sure that's going to be coming up in your questions a little bit later. But just getting more exposure and more visibility in those roles. So, and then we're seeing people like, Crosby Hall at Louisville Tile. Like, she's doing all kinds of great things there.
Oh, I love Louisville Tile.
And Mercedes Austin and the kind of the empire that she built with Mercury Museums, and Allison Eden. There's just so many, really. I have a list here somewhere in my notes. I don't want to take, here we go. We've got,
I love that.
I've got Jan Hahn, amazing installer and contractor. Angelica Weber, right?
Right. All of these women we've had on this podcast too.
Great. Melissa Swan, you got to have her on the podcast.
Yes,
she's
amazing.
Awesome
as well.
And then we just had, actually, in NTCA, Becky Serbin has just been announced as the new secretary of the NTCA Technical Committee. That is not a committee that a lot of women really are on. So for her to be, appointed to run that is pretty amazing. So I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, that's truly incredible. And every single one of those women that you've talked about, every time that I talk to them or I meet them, I'm just like, oh, I want to be like you when I grow up. Because just their stories of, the trials and tribulations that they've been through, when a lot of people, first meet them and they look at Allison Eden as, oh my gosh, she's such this fabulous artist. She's so lucky. And, just talking to her, she's like, do you know how tough it is to run a business and to make it through in New York City? You're East Coast,
Yeah.
And even Mercedes from Mosaics, the same kind of story with her, where they were, and Angela. Just all of these stories. These women came from, not companies that were handed down to them or given to them, but they truly started it with that artist in mind, and they just took something that they believed in and ran with it. So those are some really, really big names. Yeah. So as we're talking about the empowerment through, I call craftswomanship, how do you believe that women can stand in their power through maybe some of these installers and artistry in the tile work? Because there's the installers that are just doing, run of the mill, whatever the tile is given to them, they'll install. Then we have this whole separate category of women like Allison Eden, that they create this art. And so just to hear from you, where do you stand on that?
So I do want to say that really anybody who is, as I mentioned before, who lays their hand to tile and who does it with excellence and precision and industry standards and creativity is a craftsperson. So, you don't have to be installing art, like what you would classify classically as art, a mosaic, to be a craftsperson. However, there are women who have chosen to move into that realm. And Jamie Karski, Natalie Hall, she just took the Artisans Revolution in tile training. Jan Hahn, actually, she was just in that class. And Maria Meyer, who actually has been working for Dragonfly Tile, where the class was held as an tile artisan apprentice. She is amazing. She is one of the most encouraging people I have ever met. She knows her stuff, and she's so gentle and capable of guiding the attendees at the class into this new realm of tile. So I think that for women, you know, there are the things: know your stuff, get trained, learn your skills, learn the standards, believe in yourself. You know, I mean, nobody starts a bit, well, I'm not going to say nobody, but I'm going to say that usually businesses have a rough start. You know, it's tough. It's tough to start a business. There are businesses that are handed down, that are family businesses, which, you know, you have a transition into new leadership, and that's tough too. So, you know, it's always a little bit of a rocky road, you know, but women persist, and they just kind of push forward. You know, we push forward, and we bring a different view into the work that we're doing, you know, a different kind of inspiration, a different perspective, a different look at what we're doing. And that's so valuable. And I think that the culture is starting to recognize and appreciate that more.
Yeah, I think so too. You know, and I was actually trying to look, and I'm so mad that I forgot to pull this. You brought it up when you said you looked at the stats. And I had some stats that I wanted to talk about today, but I have a feeling that you'll know them. If you don't, then I'll repost them. But it has to do with the CTI event that is coming up next year on International Women's Day. Can you share some more about the significance of the CTI event that is in Florida next year? And do you know what the stats are of all of the, it's less than, isn't it less than 25 women that are out of all of the CTI that, oh, it's 10. See, I had a feeling it was 2 digits low too.
It's 10.
10.
So,
okay.
You know, I think there's, I don't know where we are in CTIs. It's well over, I think we're in 1,700 or something like that. CTIs.
That's what I thought too.
So we really do want to get more women credentialed, right? I mean, women are still doing the great work, but just like men, it helps to have that credential, right? It helps to go to your customer and say, you know, I have this credential from the CTEF, you know, that shows that I really know my stuff. You know, I'm good at what I do. So yes, I'm really excited about this. I don't want to go too much into detail because I think you're going to have Elizabeth Lambert on your show at some time in the future, and I don't want to steal her thunder talking about this because she's the chair of Women in Tile and she's been working on this. But I will tell you that we're looking at about 16 women coming to take the exam. Some people great names. There are some women I don't know, and there are some women who I know well, and I'm just so excited that we're taking this. But yes, with only 10 CTIs out there who are women, we really want to add to that. And, you know, it's a credential across genders, right? So if you get your CTI and you're a woman, it's the same as if you got your CTI and you're a guy. So, you know, it just kind of creates more equity, I think and hopefully more respect.
Right.
No, that's something that's needed, I think, in the industry.
You're absolutely right. And as far as the CTI goes, what are some expectations or hopes that you have for the outcome of the event, especially concerning the advancement of where we're going? And, you know, also like with materials changing every season, like what type of advancement and essentially the expectation, where do you think that falls? And do you think that expectation of these women, I'm kind of asking you a multitude of questions all in one, but do you think that expectation that's riding on their shoulders leading up to this exam? You know, there was, oh my gosh, who was it that she did the exam? She had the rubber chicken. Who was this? Do you remember? She talked. She did I cannot think of her name right now. She did the exam, and she at Coverings this year.
Right.
And she did not end up doing what she wanted because it was more of stress than it was technique.
Right.
So how do we start to, or what does that unraveling look like for those expectations? You think, does the CTI and Deb or anyone have that involvement of like what that looks like for them and how they can kind of cage that maybe anxiety or stress of moving into this industry with so much riding on it as a female in the industry?
Well, a few things. First, I just want to say that there's been a lot of support for the women's CTI in the industry, and that's heartening. There is still room for more sponsors. So if your listeners are interested, that would be something that would be welcome. The CTI test, it's skills and it's time management. And a lot of times people have talked about the difficulty of the time management. Their skills are there, but you got to be able to do it in a certain amount of time, right? So I think that just kind of helps everybody who takes that test come up higher. You're talking about how that's going to be the advancement for women who have taken the test. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah. So essentially when the CTI has the exam, I've not opened the book and look at it. I've had a ton of people tell me, you need to be CTI, you should do it. And I'm like, you do not want me setting tile, but I should really know as much as possible. But what I'm talking about, and this was just an experience, and I lean on Ladacry for this, is, I think I shared this with you. I just ran an all female crew as we did a floor in Florida together.
Right.
And I specified to the architect, hey, I really want to use Ladacry. Here's the products. But their products and innovation, I mean, you and I both know the innovation of Ladacry and all the things that they're doing, it changes constantly, the new things that are coming into the industry. So that's kind of that was kind of my backing of asking that question. How do we keep up? How does the CTI keep up? How do all the exams keep up with the ever-changing innovation of products, I guess?
Well, the CTI test itself is evolving. I believe that now it incorporates profiles, and we hadn't done that before, so it does kind of incorporate products that are being used in the field all the time. It is a basic test too. There are the ACT tests that are a little bit more advanced in showers and mud and stuff like that. So that the CTI is kind of a first step, but sure. No one is going to take the CTI who hasn't been installing tile for a while. Like, you don't just get into the industry and say, I'm going to take my CTI. I mean, maybe there'll be somebody who'll do that, and that would be amazing, but you kind of have to work with it for a while. And there might even be, I don't know if there is a requirement that you've been installing for a while. I'm not sure about that, so I don't want to mislead anybody. But, you already have some capability, facility, familiarity with the products before you even take your test. And you mentioned, Ladacry and their products and stuff. And I just want to mention that they have been a huge supporter of the artisan movement and the ART classes. So, they and NTCA have been the main sponsors. And then we've had other sponsors who have really stepped up, who we really appreciate as well. So I'm not sure if I really answered your question, but I
know you did. You did. It made complete sense. I can sometimes take a question and make it so convoluted because, I'm a visionary and my brain moves faster than my mouth sometimes.
I hear you. I get it.
You did great. Thank you. But, that actually leads me into the segue of, tell me more about the Tile Artisan magazine and what truly makes a tile setter an artisan. You talked about that a little bit, but what truly makes them the artisan and how they even get to land maybe a centerfold in the tile artisan?
Well, let me tell you what we're planning for 2025. So we're going to change things up a little bit. We've been publishing 2 issues a year. This year we decided to do 3. And next year we're going to have a summer issue of Artisan, and we're going to have a winter, probably December issue called Portfolio, which is going to be all case studies. So that's going to be commercial, residential, traditional, installations, as well as art installations and, mosaics and such. So, we're kind of excited about that. That'll be really pretty cool. And one of the things that came across to me when I attended the last ART training, I was taking videos of I think everybody all of the attendees, and asking them, what they got out of the program. And I think it was David Daubenschmidt. I hope I have your name right, David. And he just started by saying, we're all artists. And I loved the energy that he said, because it was a different kind of energy. It wasn't, sometimes people are like, well, yeah, I'm an installer, it's like, no, you're an artist. You're an artist. Right. Everything you do is art. Right. And, the creativity that has to go into any kind of tile installation is amazing. And so you are already an artisan. This is the artisan movement kind of draws from the legacy and the history of mosaic setting and tile setting eons ago, right? That's where it started, and bringing it forward into the future. So, women and men who choose to learn those skills. We've got the ART classes, but you've also, I know that Angie Ray is planning a class for later this year, September, or I think it's October, in doing her particular style of mosaics, which is more with hand tools and nipping. The ART is using ring saws, wet saws, shapers. So it's a different kind of set of skills. And I know that some of the people who have taken the ART classes are going to be going to Angie's class as well. And so all that energy, just kind of giving another option of what you want to do with your craft and with your career is just, is great. Yeah. It just opens it up. It opens it up.
It does. That is so amazing. And so you've crossed paths with so many incredible installers, men, women, entrepreneurs, owners, art. You name it, everyone in this industry. For something that would be professional growth for someone, what is some advice that you would give for aspiring women who are young, looking to enter into the tile industry and pursue a career?
I would say find as many trainings as you can. Go to trainings, learn the standards. It's really important to know the standards. If you're on a job and there is a problem, and I'm sure that you've run into this, you can come back and go, but this is the standard. This is how it's supposed to be done. You need to talk to, your GCs and be very clear about that, because otherwise it falls on your shoulders, if you're not doing things according to standards. NTCA, obviously, we have over 200 trainings a year across the country. Most of them are free. We got a lot of workshops are free. I think our regional trainings are. That's a great way to learn. Manufacturers have all kinds of trainings.
I know. I love them.
Yeah, take advantage of those. If you can get into an apprenticeship program, that's fantastic. You're being paid to learn. And there are companies who will do that, who will help you and help bring you up. And so that's another really, really great way to learn. And there are some trade schools out there. There's also a group called Winter, which is Women in Non-Traditional employment roles. And that is a pre-apprentice program for young women, for low-income women. Again, another opportunity. Check with NAWIC, see what their there's so much support there. Raven Hoffman was on the panel this year. It was so long ago, but it was this year. And she talked about how NAWA kind of changed her life. There's so much support. There's so much opportunity for growth. So like avail yourself of that, and all these women groups,
Right.
I mean, be involved, talk to people, see what other people are doing. Social media is like a two-edged sword, right? It's some of it's just horrible and some of it is wonderful. So go with the wonderful stuff and see what people are doing, post your own stuff. You might have to have kind of a thick skin because some people aren't that kind when they are.
Oh, I know. Trust me.
You don't have to always be a hammer when you're critiquing somebody's work, right?
Right.
Have a little honey.
You can have some honey.
You can have some honey. Yeah, people are trying.
Not on these groups. No, not on these groups. They will tear. Actually, that's so funny that you brought that up, because whenever I started, excuse me, about 6 years ago in this industry, I was on the Tile Money website or group.
Yeah.
And I asked a question, and I mean, I was like, I got reamed. So I got off. I just like removed myself because I was like, well, I don't want to, be a part of anything that's like that. And Luke Miller reached out to me, and we actually ended up doing 2 different interviews, because I said in that first one, even though I'm new to this industry, I will be a trailblazer and I will learn as much as I can, and I will be a trailblazer in this industry. And then we did another interview like 3 years later. And now if we did another one, even 3 years later, just, those groups serve a purpose. However, that's not my jam. I have thick skin, but I would rather talk to you and you criticize me than do it in a group in front of everyone else.
Of course. Yeah.
So I don't do those groups. I'm like, what's your address, buddy? We're going to hash this out right now.
It can be discouraging. I mean, I understand a little bit about where that's coming from, but you know what? You don't want to discourage people. You want to help them. You want to, hey, no guy or gal, this is not going to work. This is, you need to really take this tack. You need to learn this, but you don't have to like excoriate people. I mean, seriously.
Oh, that's so funny that we brought that up. So vision of the future. Let's jump on that for a second. So future of women in tile, we have definitely navigated that. But if you had your own crystal ball, opaque, and could read into the future of women in the tile industry, what would your vision be?
Well, let me tell you, and I'm not trying to get political, but I am going to say this. There is an opportunity and a possibility that the culture of this country is going to change in a few months, and that women are going to be seen in very high office. And that is going to galvanize every single opportunity for women out there. I mean, young girls will see possibly a woman in the highest elected office in the land, and what that will do for them inside to say, you know what, I can do that. I can pursue something. It can really, really help to bring women up in every role, in every industry, and just within ourselves.
Right.
Because one of the things is, it's nice to see people who look like you doing the work that you want to do. And so to have a role model who's doing that is really going to help. So I think that there can be a great explosion of female energy coming. I think with all the support that is growing in these women's groups that we've talked about, I can only see women achieving greater heights and getting more respect. And my hope and my vision is for that respect, because sometimes that's not there, right? It's not that the women don't have the skills, right? Or anything along that line. It's that there are going to be small-minded people in every walk of life.
Absolutely.
And my hope is that the numbers of small-minded people decrease, and that we realize that we really truly are all in this together. We can all lift each other up. We can all help each other, and let's do that. Let's lift up our craft. Let's lift up our industry. Let's help each other to do that. Doesn't matter what your gender is, let's just do it. That's kind of my hope for the future.
Yeah. And I love that you talked about like legacy, because that really leads me into my next question with you. And that is, what legacy do you hope to leave through your work that you've done in the tile industry and your advocacy? And it is for women in the field, but also the artisan movement. What do you want people to kind of remember what it is that you're doing?
Oh, well, I guess, I like to inspire. I like to lift up. I like to tell the stories. There's so much great stuff that happens in this industry. And, I work from my home. You can see it in the back. You see my musical instruments and all kinds of stuff. But when I do have the opportunity to go to the trade shows, right, or to go to the trainings or whatever, and you feel the energy, there's just so many great stories out there. So many people who have taken a chance and who are trying to do something new. So I want to, I think I've tried to tell those stories, right? And I want to continue to do that. I really have always wanted to inspire, motivate, connect, and encourage. I think encouragement is huge. I think it's the special sauce that helps us all go up higher. So, maybe to make you smile every once in a while and be entertained. And to spread good news and what's positive. So if I've done that, with my 18 plus years at Tile Letter, I can rest easy in my next life.
I have a feeling that that legacy is going to only continue even further. So one of the fun things for balancing, and some of the fun things that I know about you too, is tell me about how you balance your professional life and then also your life with all of your personal passions like blogging and gardening. How do you balance all of that and still maintain this integrity and this incredible persona that you pursue to our trade?
Oh. Thank you. Sometimes my brain feels like it's going to explode. I'm sure that I'm not alone in that.
Right.
But I do work on having and enforcing boundaries. I really try to do that. When I'm working, I'm working. When I take a day off or a week off, I haven't really taken a week off in a long time. But when I do take time off, I really try to step away. I may look at email, I may answer email, but I really need to put the creative part of my mind like on vacation so that it can rest and recover and actually explore other creative things that I'm doing. You mentioned gardening. I've been a hand drummer for a long time. My sweetie and I run a drumming circle or a rhythm circle once a month at my church to connect people through rhythm. I play drums in a kirtan band, I like to draw and write. Obviously, I started a blog in May on my birthday that is really just kind of my meanderings, my musings, and it's called Musings, MEWSINGS, because I love cats.
I was like, is it meow sings? Like, I'm so glad you pronounced it before I did.
So, musings.
Yes. And actually,
so I just, wait, I missed that.
We slowed for 2 seconds, but now we're back on. So I talked about musings, and then this is the blog spot.
Yes. I think there's a dot. There's after this 57.
Okay.
I think it's.
Hold on. Let me do this.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, there is. You're absolutely right. I'm like talking and typing way too fast. Okay.
No, that's no problem. I kept putting it at Blogspot. I was trying to get into it the other day, and it's like I can't get into my own blog. I was like, oh yeah, because there's no at. Because I'm new to this, right, folks? So just
there we go.
Yeah. So,
okay. So
I've talked about musings.
Yes, I love it.
I've talked about different things. I've talked about food noise. That's the latest one. I've talked about packing and baggage and stuff like that, walking the Camino. And so I want, you know what, I think it's important to have a balance. And I know that work-life balance, you know, sometimes people say there is no such thing as work-life balance. You know, it's more of a continuum or whatever. But whatever it is that lets you kind of, I don't know, enjoy your own being. You know, work is great. I love my job. Bart, if you're listening, I do. But you know what? I can't do it 24/7. You know, I can't. I got to get away from that. And here's case in point. Artisan was born, the idea of Artisan was born the day that I took off and I was laying in bed looking through Facebook and just kind of like letting my mind unravel. And it just, you know, everything kind of came together. So you need to leave space for that. That's important. I mean, I do journaling. I still journal, you know, most days. I try to do a little bit of meditation, some yoga from just to kind of get my body moving in the morning. I do some tapping. I have found that to be very useful in working through some issues and feelings. And, you know, all of that is important, you know, personal growth. That's a big thing that I am really all about, personal growth. So.
Absolutely. I love that so much. And, you know, it's so fascinating to hear that because I hear you say all of those things and I'm like, I have a visionary mindset. So it is constant. I cannot shut it off. I think being a serial entrepreneur and these visions and these grandiose things that I can scale out from start to finish and like, okay, let's do it. And people are like looking at me like, if you saw what was in front of me right now, I have a 9-foot by 4-foot whiteboard with font that is probably 15 points on how I'm manufacturing a whole new product from start to finish.
Ooh, I'm excited to find out about that.
It's fascinating, right? But yeah, I love that you do talk about that. So I have to do the opposite. The way that I get balance is by just centering and focusing. I have to be focused on something though 24/7.
Right.
So it's interesting as humans of how our biochemistry is definitely wired and how we process and find those aha moments or find those moments of bliss within our own DNA. So absolutely. I love that you brought that up. So Lesley, what socials? I know that we have the blog spot here, and if people are interested in learning about tile letter, so we have tileletter.com. And then we also have this website too. Differentiate the two. Is this one for the association?
Yes, this one is for the association. So this is the association as a whole. There's our resources. The Consumer Education Committee information is there in the trade and professionals section. Our trainings are there. Actually, there's a new interactive training map under training, which is really great because installers and contractors can plan. Oh, look here, I live here. Let me like click on this dot to show, you know, there's going to be some trainings coming to my area. It makes it really easy. So that's where you can find out all about NTCA is at this particular, and then Tile Letter is Tile Letter. And we, so Tile Letter will give you access to the monthly issues, but also we have a running, you know, website on news and, unique stories, you know, sponsored content, all kinds of stuff that's on tileletter.com. So, you know, original content. So go there too.
Okay, that's amazing. And then Women in Tile, where can we find them? They don't have their own website yet, do they?
I think that is actually at the NTCA site that you just had up. So I think you can find it there. You can link to it there. And then there should be a Facebook group, also Women in Tile, and it might be NTCA Women in Tile, so look for it there. There's also Tile Letter on Facebook and LinkedIn, and then, you know, I personally am on Facebook as Lesley A. Goddin. That is my work, the one that I use for work, because I have a personal one, but I do tend to be very political there. And before I separated them, I learned that I can't put them together. I just can't.
Yeah, that doesn't mix so well.
It does not mix. So, you know, look for me at Lesley A. Goddin, and I'm also at LinkedIn at Lesley Goddin. So I know it's kind of, and I'm also at Instagram, Lesley Goddin, all lowercase on Instagram. And I am
look at you.
I am, but you know what? I don't use Instagram that much. I'm trying to get more up and running. I need a class in Instagram because I'm just not, I'm a word person, and so Facebook is good for me. So,
I tell you what, I'll teach you how to use Instagram, create a link tree so then people can just go to it and they find all your jams. I even have my Amazon wish list on mine.
Ooh, that would be great. Thank you. I would love that.
Yes, right? And you maybe convinced me to go do this CTI exam. How's that?
Yes. Yes.
Well, listen, it has been an absolute pleasure to sit and to finally get to talk with you today. And I am so excited for this piece to air and for everyone to hear and just to see what more you're going to write about and just all that you keep doing for the industry. I give you accolades and I appreciate your energy, your fabulous writing and creativity that you bring to our industry. So thank you.
Thank you, Cameron. This has been so wonderful being here with you. It's been really a delight. I'm so glad that you're doing this and giving a platform to all the women that you're interviewing. It's really awesome. Thank you so much for being you.
Thank you so much. Well, I will check in with you a little bit later. And thank you again for being on. Have a fabulous rest of your weekend.
Okay, you too. Bye.
Thank you. Guys, if you are not using Laticree, why? Why use Laticree, you ask? Because for over 65 years, Laticree has built their reputation tile by tile. Their products are globally proven and trusted by professionals for their superior performance and ease of use. They support us as women in the industry and also coming to installations to help show how to use materials. They are so professional, and whether we were working on a bathroom install or commercial installation, expansive products, Laticree offers installation solutions to make your vision come to life. From their ultra reliable thin set adhesives and easy to use waterproofing membranes to their durable and stain resistant grouts, they have us covered. So whether you're a seasonal professional or just starting out on your DIY journey, trust Laticrete as your partner in creating spaces that are not only beautiful, but built to last. With almost 7 decades of setting industry standards, Laticrete is the name for architects, designers, and professional installers know and they rely on. So choose Laticrete as your partner in all things tile and stone, and happy building. I am so excited that I got to have Lesley on the show today. I mean, truly, she is someone that as soon as I got into this industry, I started reading about, and I just was captivated by everything that she brings and shares to the industry. And also other women in the industry, like the WOFB. It is a community of women that are in flooring, tile, stone, designers, entrepreneurs, women in lighting like myself, and so much more that are passionate about our personal and our professional growth. And through this podcast is where I aim to amplify those voices of women in our fields and empower each other to flourish in business and in life. So aside from that too, if you are ever interested of offering a CEU at your studio or design showroom, check out CameoStudioDesigns.com, where I offer Designer Dopamine, which was actually created for tile installers 6 years ago, of how we use LED integration into grout joints and so much more. If you are interested in becoming a sponsor as well, please feel free to reach out to podcast@womenflooring.com, where we have sponsorships available and other, oh my gosh, you guys, so many great things that are coming down the pipeline. We're going to do a coffee with Cameo again, where I unpack tons of fun stuff about Designer Dopamine as a design tool for you, but also Georgia Ezra, who is the creative director of Tile of Ezra, and also Shannon Vogel, who is a public speaker, who also brings some amazing things to social media. Her company, Reach Social Media, will also be coming down the pipeline, plus many, many more. Join the WOFB on Facebook and be a part of the conversations to join our online community and connect with women like Lesley, like Shannon, like Angie, like Julie, so many others that are in flooring, tile, stone industry. So be sure to check out the website at womenflooring.com. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you next time.